Modal Verbs Part 3, and it will focus on using modal verbs for certainty, probability, and deduction. Deduction means using the information available to make a guess or draw a conclusion about the facts. Depending on the information available, you might be more certain that your conclusion is true or less certain that your conclusion is true, and we use different modal verbs to indicate the degree of certainty. If we are completely or almost certain about our conclusion, we use the modal verbs must, can't, and couldn't. If we are mostly certain, if we have an expectation, we use the modal verb should. And if we are not so certain, we think maybe it's true, but maybe it's not, then we use the modal verbs might, may, and could. Let's look at some examples. When making deductions about the present, we use must if we are sure something is true, and can't if we are sure that something is impossible. For example, if you see this guy, you can say, he must be a chef. We are very certain of this because of his uniform and what he is doing. We can also make the conclusion that he can't be a policeman. We are very certain that he is not a policeman. Carla works every day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Right now it's 10:30 a.m., so she must be at work. She can't be at home. In both cases, we are certain about our conclusion. In the first sentence, she must be at work, we are certain that this is the case. And in the second sentence, she can't be at home, we are certain that this is impossible. Now put it into practice. You'll see 5 pictures accompanied by sentences. For each one, fill in the blank with must if you think it is true, or can't if you think it is impossible. Think fast because the answer will appear after just a couple seconds. The correct answer is, he can't be a vegetarian. The correct answer is, they must be in love. The correct answer is, you must be exhausted. The correct answer is, that can't be right. The correct answer is, she must love her cat. Now let's talk about certainty in the past. When we consider some present evidence and draw a reasonably certain conclusion about what happened in the past, we use must have plus the past participle, or couldn't have plus the past participle. Must have is when we draw the conclusion that something did happen. For example, Sheila got a tan. She must have spent some time in the sun lately. There was 1 banana left, but now it's gone. My husband must have eaten it. We can also use must not have plus the past participle when we draw the conclusion that something did not happen. For example, the car is still dirty. Paul must not have washed it yet. He barely touched his lunch. He must not have been hungry. We use couldn't have plus the past participle when we are certain that something was impossible. For example, if one of your classmates is complaining about a missing notebook and they think your friend Martha might have taken it, but she wasn't in class yesterday, you could say, Martha couldn't have taken your notebook. She wasn't even in class yesterday. This means it was impossible that Martha took the notebook. Imagine you have 2 sons. The younger one is named Eric. One afternoon you notice that Eric's favorite cookies are missing from the top shelf in the pantry. But Eric couldn't have reached the cookies on the top shelf. He's not tall enough. It was impossible, so he must have asked his older brother to get them. We draw a logical conclusion about what was impossible and what must have happened. Can't have is also an option for certainty in the past, but it is much less common than couldn't have. So what's the difference between must not have and couldn't have? Here's an example that illustrates the difference. I don't see the report here. She must not have printed it out. We draw the conclusion that she didn't do it because the report isn't here. The printer's been broken for the past week, so she couldn't have printed out the report. In this case, we know it was impossible for her to print out the report because of the broken printer. Now put it into practice. You'll see 5 pictures accompanied by sentences. For each one, fill in the blank with must have if you think it happened, must not have if you think it didn't happen, or couldn't have if you think it was impossible. Think fast because the answer will appear in a couple of seconds. Ready? Let's go. The correct answer is, the thief must have gotten in through the window. The correct answer is, I couldn't have left my phone at work. I made a call on the drive home. The correct answer is, she must have been happy when she heard the good news. The correct answer is, they couldn't have bought a house without a loan because they had no savings. The correct answer is, he looks upset. He must not have liked whatever she just said. The correct answer is, how was your presentation? Great! It couldn't have been better. What about deductions in the future? Well, making deductions about the future is the same as making predictions. As you learned in the lesson about future tenses, we can use will or going to for saying what we believe will happen in the future. When you are quite sure that your prediction is correct, you can also add the word definitely to emphasize your certainty. For example, she's definitely going to love this book. It's by her favorite author. The kids will definitely be thrilled when we tell them we're going to Disney World. 2 slightly more formal expressions that can be used for talking about the future with certainty is saying that something is certain to happen or is sure to happen. For example, engineers are certain to develop even faster computers. The country is sure to come to the aid of its ally. Now let's talk about expectation. When you expect something to happen, although you are not completely 100% certain, you can use should or shouldn't for the present or future. For example, I took my car to the mechanic yesterday and he said the problem would be fixed in a day, so my car should be ready by now. Can you please type up these notes? It should only take about half an hour. The weather is clear, so our flight shouldn't be delayed. I've written out all the instructions for this task step by step, so you shouldn't run into any problems when you try to do it. Now put it into practice. What's one thing you expect to do, or one thing you expect to happen in the near future? Use should. For example, within the next week, I should finish the book I'm reading. Now create your own sentence. For expectations about what was supposed to happen in the past, you can use should have and shouldn't have, plus the past participle. For example, I sent the package 3 weeks ago with express mail. They should have received it already. This means I expect that they have already received it. This car is brand new. It shouldn't have broken down. This means I expected it not to break down. Because should and shouldn't are also used for giving advice and recommendations, we can also use should have and shouldn't have for evaluating things in the past and declaring them to have been right or wrong, good or bad. For example, if your friend Lindsay saw a woman who needed help but did nothing, you could say, "Lindsay, you should have helped her." If I said something mean to my best friend during the argument, I could say, "I shouldn't have said that. It really hurt her feelings." I am looking back at the action in the past and declaring it to be right or wrong. Now put it into practice. Think of one thing you regret doing and one thing you regret not doing. Make sentences about them using should or shouldn't have, plus the past participle. Finally, let's talk about possibility. We can use may, might, and could to talk about things that are possible in the present and future. We are not completely certain that they are true. For example, where's Fred? He's not in his office. He may be in the bathroom, or he might be in the conference room. Don't eat that mushroom. It could be poisonous. The weather forecast says it may rain tomorrow. Your daughter is really smart. She could be very successful someday. We might take a road trip this weekend. Some people say that might is less certain than may, but in spoken English there is really no effective difference. It's probably best to use might. The word may is less common, and we can only use could in the positive form, not the negative form, when talking about possibility. For example, are you sure that's a good idea? The boss may not like it, or the boss might not like it when he finds out. We can use either may or might, but we can't use could in the negative form. Here's another example. I may not be the smartest person in the class, but I definitely work the hardest. Or, I might not be the smartest person in the class, but I definitely work the hardest. We can't say, I could not be the smartest person in the class. Again, because the sentence is negative, it has the word not, we can't use could. When talking about past possibilities, we can use may have, might have, or could have for positive possibilities, or may not have and might not have for negative possibilities. We can't use couldn't have because this is used for impossible things, as you learned earlier in this lesson. Here are some examples. She's not home. She might have gone to the store. He may have misunderstood you when you talked to him yesterday. The person who stole the documents could have been one of the employees. Could have is usually used in unreal conditions when we are imagining a possibility if something in the past had been different, as you learned in Lesson 7. For example, if we had started this project earlier, we could have finished on time. For negative sentences, we can use might not have and may not have. For example, John's not here. He might not have known about the meeting. If she hasn't called you back, she may not have listened to your voicemail yet. Remember that couldn't have is only used when we are certain that something is logically impossible in the past. For example, she couldn't have taken the car. She doesn't have a key. One final note about pronunciation. In fast-spoken English, phrases like must have, might have, should have, could have, etc. often sound shorter, like must have, might have, should have, and could have. But don't write them this way, and don't write must of, might of, etc. That's a common error. Sometimes even native speakers make it. Let's summarize the modal verbs for deduction. Use must in the present and must have in the past when you are very certain that something is or was true. Use can't in the present and couldn't have in the past when you are very certain that something is or was impossible. Use should or shouldn't in the present and should have or shouldn't have in the past to talk about things you expect to be true, although you don't have complete certainty. You can also use should have or shouldn't have for judging actions in the past to be good or bad. Use might, may, or could to talk about present and future possibilities. The word might is the most common. Use might have, may have, or could have to talk about past possibilities. And for a possibility that something did not happen, use might not have and may not